Every review channel out there is telling you solar generators got cheaper this year. And that part's actually true. So, why does picking the right one still feel like guessing? Because it is guessing. If all you've got is a sale banner and a spec sheet written by the marketing department. I've had customers call me proud as anything about a power station they grabbed on a Black Friday deal, and then call me back 8 months later asking why it won't charge past 40%. That's not them being careless. That's a $500 price tag doing exactly what it's designed to do, which is get you to stop reading past the headline number. But this story doesn't start with the sale price. It starts with what's actually sitting inside the battery case. 2026 delivered something rare. A real wave of under $500 power stations that finally switched over to lithium iron phosphate cells, the same battery chemistry that used to only show up in units twice the price. That's not marketing copy. That's a genuine shift in what's happening under the plastic shell, and it's the reason this list even exists. What nobody's telling you is which of those markdown units are worth grabbing and which ones are the reason I still get those phone calls 8 months later. So, I pulled current pricing, real capacity numbers, and the failure patterns other owners are actually reporting, and I ranked 11 of them. Somewhere in the middle of this list is the one I'd actually buy for my own garage. One of these 11 has a problem I'm not going to bury quietly. I'm saving it for the end, on purpose, because I want you to hear the whole case before you decide whether the price tag is worth the risk. I spent 35 years wiring homes and hauling out the units that quit the moment a storm actually hit. So let's get into it. Number 1. The E-Coach Flow River 3. This is the smallest real contender on the list. 245 watt-hours of lithium iron phosphate, rated for 3,000 charge cycles, putting out 300 watts continuous, with a boost mode that'll push 600 for short pulls. Regular price sits around $239, and it's been spotted as low as $196. An independent lab actually tested the usable output and measured closer to 210 watt-hours once you account for inverter loss. That gap exists on every single unit on this list. By the way, not just this one. Rated capacity and delivered capacity are two different numbers, and I'll say that again before we're done, because it matters more than the number printed on the box. This unit charges from empty to full in about an hour and switches over as backup power in under 20 milliseconds, which matters if you're keeping a router or a CPAP machine alive through a blip. It won't run your fridge for a day. It'll keep your phone, your laptop, and a small medical device running through a short outage, and for under $240, that's a fair trade. Think of it as the unit you keep in a kitchen drawer, not the one you'd count on for a 3-day ice storm. Number 2. The Bluetti Elite 30V2. 288 watt-hours, lithium iron phosphate, 600 watts continuous, with a lifting mode that'll hit 1500 briefly. It weighs under 10 pounds and switches over in under 10 milliseconds, which is genuinely fast for anything in this price bracket. Pricing has bounced between $199 and $299 depending on the sale window. I'll give credit where it's due. Bluetti's smaller units and their newest firmware have closed a lot of gaps that used to be real problems on their older lineup. We'll get to where that reputation gets shakier later on this list, because it does. But at this size and this price, the Elite 30V2 is a legitimate device charging pick, and I'd have no hesitation putting one in a go bag. Number 3. The EcoFlow River 3 Plus, 286 watt-hours out of the box, but this one expands to 858 watt-hours if you add the extra battery pack, which is a real upgrade path most units at this price don't offer. 600 watts, continuous, 1200 on boost, under 10 millisecond switchover, and it'll accept up to 220 watts of solar input if you're actually trying to recharge it off panels during a multi-day outage. List price is $299. Street price has run around $249 to $269. If you think you might outgrow a small unit but don't want to spend the money on a big one today, this is the only unit on this list built to grow with you instead of getting replaced. That's the kind of forward thinking most budget gear doesn't bother with. That's 3 units in, and I haven't hit a single dud yet. That's actually the honest story of this year. The floor on quality came up across the board, which almost never happens in a category this crowded with cheap knockoffs. Number 4. The Bluetti AC50B, 448 watt-hours, 700 watts, continuous, lithium iron phosphate, just under 15 pounds. Pricing has run between $246 and $279. This one sits in an awkward middle spot, bigger than the true budget units, but still not quite into real outage territory. If your use case is a weekend of camping or keeping a CPAP and a mini fridge running through a short blip, it does the job fine. If you're thinking whole outage backup, keep watching, because a couple units further down this list do a lot more for not much more money. Number 5. The Goal Zero Yeti 500X, 505 watt-hours of lithium iron phosphate, 300 watts continuous with a 1200 watt surge rating, and pricing that's run from $336 up to $414 depending on the retailer. I want to flag something honestly here. 300 watts continuous is low for a 500 watt-hour battery. Most units this size are pushing 600 to 700 watts continuous. So, on paper, this one's underpowered for its capacity. Goal Zero's trade-off is that they build and support out of the US. And if you've ever tried to get warranty support from an overseas seller at 2 in the morning during an outage, you know why that matters to some buyers more than the spec sheet does. Just don't buy this one expecting to run power tools off it. It's not built for that kind of load, and no amount of brand loyalty changes the wattage rating. We're 5 deep, and here's where it starts getting real, because the next unit is the one I'd actually put in my own garage. Number 6. The Anker C1000, 1056 watt-hours, lithium iron phosphate rated for 3,000 cycles with a 10-year warranty and UL certification, 1,800 watts continuous output with a surge pad that'll push 2,400 watts for the harder starts. It charges 0 to 80% in about 43 minutes. It's been on sale repeatedly between $429 and $449 against a list price up around $600 to $799. That's not a typo, by the way. $799 of real capability sitting at under $450 when the sale windows open. This is the pick. Independent testers who've actually run these things through real load cycles keep landing in the same place, calling out the output to weight ratio and the real-world performance as some of the strongest they've measured at any price, not just under $500. It weighs in under 26 pounds, which is manageable for one person to carry to a garage or a truck bed without throwing their back out. And it'll run a full-size fridge, a router, lights, and a laptop simultaneously through a multi-hour outage without breaking a sweat. The 10-year warranty on the battery itself is the detail that matters most to me, though. A company willing to put their name on a battery for a full decade is a company that's confident it won't be fielding my 8 months later phone call. I mean, think about that for a second. Most appliances in your house don't carry a 10-year warranty, and this is a battery getting cycled hard. Could you spend more and get more capacity or more output? Sure. But if you're capping the budget at $500 and asking me straight out what to buy, this is the one I'd tell you to click Add to Cart on. So, that's the pick if you're buying today. But 5 units down this list still deserve a fair hearing because a couple of them do things the Anker doesn't. Number 7. The EcoFlow Delta 3 Classic 1024 watt-hours lithium iron phosphate, 1800 watts, continuous with a 3600 watt surge rating, a 45-minute fast charge to 80%, sub 10 millisecond UPS switchover, and a 5-year warranty. It's currently sitting as one of Amazon's best-selling units in this entire category, with street pricing between $429 and $474 against a comparable value EcoFlow lists around $598. This one is close enough to the Anker that either is a legitimate buy, and if you catch the Delta 3 Classic on a deeper markdown than the C1000 on a given week, grab it without a second thought. What tips it slightly behind for me on a normal week is the warranty gap, 5 years against 10. On a purchase this size, that difference is worth real money if you do the math over a decade. Number 8. The Jackery Explorer 1000 version 2, 1070 watt-hours, lithium iron phosphate rated for 4,000 cycles. That's the highest cycle rating on this entire list, 1500 watts continuous with a 3000 watt peak, and it charges to full in about an hour. Regular price sits around $499 against a list price near $799, and it's been caught on sale as low as $326 during clearance windows. That's the kind of number that makes an accountant sit up and pay attention. 4,000 cycles means this battery is rated to outlast the 3,000 cycle units around it by roughly a third. If you're the type who'll actually run this thing hard, camping trips, worksite duty, regular outages, that cycle rating is the number to pay attention to over the sticker price, because a battery that lasts a third longer is worth more than a battery that's $50 cheaper today. If you're finding this helpful, go ahead and hit subscribe now, because I run this same honest verdict approach on generators, home batteries, and solar systems every single week. And there's still real ground to cover before we get to the one I'd tell you to skip. Number 9. Bluetti AC70, 768 watt-hours, lithium iron phosphate rated for 3,000 cycles, 1,000 watts continuous with a 2,000 watt lifting mode, and it'll take up to 500 watts of solar input. On sale, it's been spotted around $299 against a list price between $329 and $429. Independent testers consistently rank this the best compact value in Bluetti's current lineup, and I agree with that read. For the size and the price, it's a legitimately strong buy, the kind of unit that earns a spot in a truck bed or a small workshop without weighing you down. Number 10. The Bluetti Elite 100 V2, 1024 watt-hours, lithium iron phosphate rated for 4,000 cycles, 1,800 watts continuous, with a 2700 watt surge, and it accepts up to 1000 watts of solar. It's been on sale around $395 against a list price near $619. On paper, this competes directly with the Anker and EcoFlow picks above it. Similar capacity, even a higher cycle count. So, why isn't it ranked higher? Because Bluetti's newest units are genuinely improved, but the brand is still working off a reputation. The next unit on this list is about to explain in full, and this next part is the one I've been building toward the whole video. And that brings us to number 11, and I want to be straight with you about why I put this one last instead of leaving it off the list entirely. The Bluetti AC180, 1,152 watt-hours, lithium iron phosphate, 1,800 watts, continuous. On sale, it's run between $360 and $389 against a $500 list price, which on paper makes it one of the better deals on this entire list. Here's the problem. Owners on Bluetti's own community forum and on independent solar forums have reported this specific unit developing a pattern where it simply stops accepting a charge, sometimes after nothing more than sitting in storage. One owner documented an error code, and over 2 months with no resolution, bounced back and forth between the manufacturer and the retailer the whole time. If that were the only complaint, I might chalk it up to one bad unit off the line. But then a second pattern shows up in the same forums, owners reporting the unit locking up and shutting down whenever there's a power fluctuation on the input side, which is exactly the moment you need a backup power source to keep working, not shut down on you. And somehow it gets worse. A gear testing channel that's torn down older units in this same product family documented batteries going from fully functional to completely unusable with almost no warning, tracing it back to a communication failure inside the battery management system. That's the component whose entire job is keeping the battery safe and talking to the rest of the unit correctly. When that fails, you're not looking at a simple fix. Bluetti has since pushed a firmware update specifically addressing an auto recovery function on this unit and 2 others in the lineup, which tells you the company itself is aware something needed fixing. I'll give them credit for responding instead of staying quiet, but I'm not going to rank a unit near the top of a buyer protection list when there's a documented pattern of it failing at the one job it exists to do. If you already own one, get that firmware update installed today. Don't wait. If you're shopping and haven't bought yet, $429 gets you the Anker, with a 10-year warranty and a clean reliability record instead for barely more money. Now, before you go buy any of these, I need to keep you honest about what a device this size actually does, because this is the part that gets people in trouble. None of these 11 units will run a well pump. None of them will run central air conditioning. None of them will run an electric water heater. Those loads need real running watt numbers in the thousands sustained, and surge numbers even higher just to start the motor. What these units are built for is keeping your phone charged, your laptop working, your router online, a CPAP machine running through the night, a mini fridge cold, and your lights on during a short outage or a weekend off-grid. That's not a small thing. It's just a different thing than what an installer's whole home system does. And mixing those two up is how people end up disappointed in gear that was never designed for that job in the first place. I also want to flag something: the safety side of this niche doesn't get talked about enough. In September of 2025, the Consumer Product Safety Commission issued a warning on a no-name brand of 400 and 500-watt power stations after 24 reported fires and explosions and roughly $450,000 in property damage. The manufacturer never responded to a recall request, and because there was no formal recall, those units are still sitting in people's garages right now, today, as you're watching this. None of the 11 units on this list are that brand, but that's exactly the point I want you to walk away with. Every unit I've covered today carries real UL or ETL certification, and a manufacturer you can actually reach on the phone. If you're shopping outside this list and you find a suspiciously cheap power station from a brand you've never heard of with no certification listed anywhere, that's not a bargain. That's the exact unit the Commission was warning you about. So, here's the checklist before you buy anything under $500. Confirm it's lithium iron phosphate, not the cheaper chemistry that used to dominate this price range. Confirm it carries real UL or ETL certification, not just a logo that looks official. Confirm the continuous watt rating actually clears your biggest device with some surge headroom left over. And buy it on a documented sale against a real list price, not a fake crossed out number that was never the actual price to begin with. If I had to boil 11 units down to 3, here's where I'd land. The Anker C1000 is the pick if you want the strongest overall combination of capacity, warranty, and reliability for the money, full stop. The Bluetti AC70 is the pick if you want real outage capability in a smaller, lighter package without spending past $300. And the Bluetti AC180 is the one I'd walk past, sale price or not, until that reliability pattern has a longer track record of actually being fixed for good. None of these are paid placements. Nobody sponsored this list, and I'm not working off an affiliate spreadsheet telling me which brand to push. This is the same read I'd give a customer standing in my driveway asking what to buy before a storm rolls in. The real question by the end of a list like this was never which one is cheapest. It's which one is still working in 3 years when you actually need it. 10 of these 11 earn their price tag. One of them is asking you to gamble on a fix that's still proving itself. If this saved you from grabbing the wrong deal, that's the whole point of this channel. Stick around, because next week I'm running the same honest math on whole home battery backup and whether it's actually worth it once you run the real numbers instead of the installer's pitch.